How you doing? It's Auden Tate, wide receiver, Cincinnati Bengals, and you watching Clock Management. One of the best new fantasy football podcasts in the world. So go check them out on YouTube and see what they got.
What is going on, everybody? It is December 10th, 2019. I am Justin, and as always, I'm joined by Perry.
And Justin, you are like a corner piece to a puzzle, buddy. Without you, I'm completely lost.
Nice. I like the big picture, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How's it? You know what, guys? Today we're going to be covering studs and duds. We're going to be covering all kinds of injuries. There were a lot of injuries this week in the NFL, and Justin and I are going to try and help you guys navigate what to do with your lineups due to those injuries. So stay tuned for that. We also have news nobody cares about, and I think Justin has a little bit of announcement to chat with you guys about right now.
Yes, before we get into everything, I got a big announcement I'm going to share. We actually got a clip to roll about it, so let's just roll that clip.
Clock Management Fantasy Football, you and a guest have been invited to the ball. Congratulations, the Fantasy Football Showdown is inviting you and a guest. Get ready. I give you the Fantasy Showdown. If you thought the Throne League was big, you ain't seen nothing yet. 96 owners in this league. I'm putting 8 copies of each player into the player pool.
All right, management team, in order to get your spot in this league that you just heard Smitty talk about, all you have to do is share our podcast on Twitter and tag us in that share, and you'll get entered to win that spot. At the end of next week, we will announce the winner of that. So you will have 2 episodes you can share in that time period, and you could be entered to win that spot. That's the only way to get into this league. Super easy and free to you. We're all about helping you guys help us build our brand, and we help you have fun with fantasy football and win. Let's bring that trophy home to the management team. Yeah, so that's super exciting, guys. One of you will be winning a chance to enter into this league with us and 94 other teams. So whoever wins, do us proud and bring that championship home to the management team.
Yeah, Justin, I'll be going over exactly how to get entered into that, Justin, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's start back. I'm gonna start back again, just like we just started, Perry. So in the video that I'm gonna put up there, it's gonna explain that.
Great. I did not know that.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll start right here.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's super exciting, guys. This league Smitty's got going. One of you will get a chance to enter into this, and it'll be exciting. There's 94 other teams. Yeah. So do us proud and bring that championship home to the management team.
Yeah, gives you a chance to compete against a lot of other guys in the industry that know what they're doing. Gives you a chance to compete against us. And technically, if we don't win and you do, I'm still taking credit.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys have a super great advantage when you play against us because we tell you everything that we're going to do.
Yeah. So get entered to win that. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I know that there's going to be some pretty cool prizes, some still to be announced. So
yeah, and it's just a super unique league too, like different than every other league you do. So it's not that just same thing. So it'll be fun. I like to do a couple different types of leagues every year.
And this is something unlike anything else you can find anywhere. So it should be pretty exciting. I'm a little nervous, man. I'm gonna have to do a lot of thinking on how we're gonna draft for this. But
man, I'm just happy that we start that draft so early. Because I get so excited,
I know.
Way too early for football. So
yeah, we'll get to draft through the whole off season pretty much. So that's awesome.
All right, Perry, you want to get us? Oh, well, before we get to the news, let's talk about life a little bit, Perry.
Yeah, I thought you were just going to skip over my life, man.
I would never. What's going on over there?
Honestly, not too much. I'm still just kind of job hunting. here on the island. My wife has had a first full week of employment on the island. She started her second week this week, and so that's going really well. She's really excited about it, really happy there. Otherwise, I've just been hanging out with producer Sean, just doing the island thing, man. It's been good. How about you? What's new with you? What's new with that sweatshirt you got on?
Oh, yeah. So I got this sweet sweatshirt you guys can see here. You guys can also get this sweet sweatshirt at the rumboys.com or just rumboys.com, boys with a Z. And then you click on the pirate ship apparel and go to the clock management one. That money goes directly to us. So it helps keep us independent and doing this for the management team.
Absolutely. That's a cool sweatshirt, man. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I really like this one. And we're just getting ready for the holidays. We got family in town. So got a packed house. So if you hear some people in the background, that's probably what that is.
Oh, yeah. Well, great. Yeah, let me jump into the news here because I got a lot to talk about today.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
Oh, man, I got to clear my throat for this. Yeah. So I know the regular season for fantasy ended. I don't think a lot of these players knew that their season didn't have to end right then too, but we got a lot of season-ending injuries this week. Let's start with Mike Evans, expected to miss the rest of the season with a hamstring injury. I'm sure this would have probably only kept him out a few weeks, but the season ends in a few weeks. And when your quarterback's throwing 23 interceptions in a season so far, you're probably not making the playoffs. So Mike Evans finishes the season with 67 receptions, 1,157 yards, and 8 touchdowns. Another great year for Mike Evans. I know that it was kind of slowed down by Chris Godwin a little bit. So the reason I bring all that up is to just consider that next season. Remember that Chris Godwin's not going anywhere except probably up. And Mike Evans, I don't know. He had a good season. He could lose more to Chris Godwin next year.
So this reminded me a lot of this season with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin reminded me a lot of Juju and Antonio Brown last year. How like you never knew which one was going to have a big week this week, but one of them was going to.
Yeah. I really like Chris Godwin going forward for the rest of the season. So if you're still fighting for the fighting in the playoffs, fighting to not get last place, and you own Chris Godwin, I think you're in luck there. This one's not season ending, so don't get scared. Just want to preface that before I say it. Lamar Jackson is dealing with a small quad injury. It doesn't seem to be too serious, as he's already announced that he will be starting on Thursday.
And so did Harbaugh.
Yeah, and Harbaugh did as well. So I'm not too worried about Lamar playing this week. I don't think you should either. Obviously, if he's playing, start him. He is playing the Jets. It could be a big game for him as long as he stays on the field. So this is what I brought up. As long as he's healthy, he's great. I just hope he stays healthy. Maybe his floor, Justin, do you think might be a little lower this week? Maybe he doesn't run the ball quite as much?
Yeah, his floor is definitely lower. And just because there's that risk injury, I think he still runs the ball just as much. I don't think that. I think that's just part of the game plan with him, like to be successful. So I think he still runs it. They may limit it a little bit, do a little more handoffs instead of him keeping the ball. So yeah, there is that. But I mean, I think, like you said, you're playing him. So
I think the bigger risk with him is that they're up by, say, 20 in the third quarter and they pull him. They pull him out of the game. That might be actually more likely, especially if he's dealing with this nagging quad, because these guys are hoping to go deep into the playoffs. And yeah, if they're going to be winning this game handedly, there's no reason for him to stay in long. Back to the season-ending injuries. Calvin Ridley with an abdominal injury. He posts on Instagram that he is done for the season. I haven't seen anything official from the team yet, but I'm assuming that he's probably done for the season if he's going to post on Instagram. Most of the times these guys want to play and they're going to say they're playing even when they're not. So he played 13 games this season, 866 receiving yards, 7 touchdowns. A good season for Calvin Ridley on a team that really underperformed. So I think next year Calvin Ridley is probably only going to get better as Julio Jones gets older. So I expect Calvin Ridley to be good next season. So just go ahead and keep that in mind, as his numbers will be slightly nerfed going into next season because of this injury and the few injuries he had this year. Rashad Penny had a sprained ACL this week. His season is likely over, is the report. It's definitely over for fantasy, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I know we were excited about Rashad Penny, especially in recent weeks, as Chris Carson was getting a little less work due to the fumbles. But now with Rashad Penny out, Chris Carson is shooting up my rankings. He is probably a top 5 running back for me rest of season, due to the fact that he's going to be an every down running back. I hope he can hold on to the ball. But Rashad Penny, I really like Rashad Penny for next season. I don't see any reason why they need to stay committed to Chris Carson next season with all these fumbles. But I don't know. We'll have to see how it plays out.
With that one though, I do still expect them to use like more than one running back. I think that Carson's like got the sure shot starting role and the majority of carries at this point. But I do still expect them for like you to see a couple of other running backs sneak in there from time to time. That happened during this game as well with CJ Procise, and I forgot who the other one was. They had another running back. His name's escaping me right now, but that came in there and got some carries. So I think you'll still see that. But yeah, Chris Carson definitely moving up rankings
for sure. Darius Geis, Justin, I want you to do this one.
Oh, thank you. I was hoping so. So Perry, first of all, you were right. I was wrong. I don't like to admit I'm wrong ever.
I know you don't. Neither do I.
I was definitely wrong on this. And if I ever try and get back on this Geis train, please just end our Skype call or hang up on me or something. I will not be back on that train. Geis he can't stay healthy. It's impossible for him to stay healthy. He luckily escaped a serious injury and had a strain, I think as an ACL strain.
MCL
MCL, yeah.
It's not a strain, okay. It is a sprain, which is
regardless, he can't stay healthy. Yeah. And then next week he'll probably pull something else getting out of bed. So
yeah. I expect Darius Geis to be the starting running back going into next season. I think, just to play devil's advocate here, Darius Geis is a talented running back. He is a talented running back, and when he has the ball, good things happen. But Justin's right. If you can't stay on the field, you can't rely on him. I will not be drafting Darius Geis, no matter what his ADP is next season. So Marvin Jones, wide receiver for the Detroit Lions, was placed on IR with an ankle injury, ending his season. He finished with 62 catches for 779 yards and 9 touchdowns. Tied for second most in the NFL was Marvin Jones. I feel like this was a really quiet, really good season for Marvin Jones. I hope that he makes it back strong next season. I really like Marvin Jones a lot. But Kenny Golladay.
Yeah, it's great for Kenny Golladay. Also, like you said, for next season, just keep that in mind that he did have such a great season, because Marvin Jones, like you said, is a quietly good year for him. So he's not going to shoot up those boards. So you'll probably be able to get him super late. And I mean, whether it pans out or not at that as late of an ADP, you're not risking a lot to get him. So if you get him super late and he performs where he did this year, that's just awesome for you. It's just something to keep in mind during the offseason.
Absolutely. I think you could get him as your third wide receiver, but we'll talk about that a whole lot more in the months to come. This one is good for you, Justin. You will be happy to hear it, although I think this shoe already dropped. Alshon Jeffrey is probably done for the year with a significant foot injury. I watched the play. He took off right off the line of scrimmage there, immediately pulled up and kind of hobbled off the field. Probably a torn ligament. He reported that he felt and heard a pop. Not good news for Alshon.
That's never
Jeffrey.
Good.
Yeah, I like Alshon. I was betting on him this year to have a great year. It didn't really pan out. Injuries really held him back all year. when it comes to the Eagles wide receivers, they've had a horrible season for wide receivers. So many injuries. Right now, their wide receivers are going to be JJ Arcega-Whiteside, Greg Ward, Nelson Aguilar, and then they're going into Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert. So Zach Ertz is now the number one wide receiver for the Eagles. I wouldn't be starting any of the other Eagles wide receivers at all. If you guys were watching that game last night, as soon as Alshon went out, everything was going to Dallas Goedert and Zach Ertz.
Yeah.
So
Aguilar still got that big playability. So like that's someone who, he may put up a huge amount of fantasy points in a week, but he's a lot more likely just to do nothing for you.
Yeah. Okay. So this one, I'm going to take credit here. It's a little bit. Daniel Jones, ankle, expected to miss 2 to 4 weeks now, effectively ending Daniel Jones' season. They're not playing for the playoffs. They have no reason to risk it with Daniel Jones, as he is their future. There's no doubt there. But Eli Manning played well this week. He really did play well. He took it to overtime on the Eagles, right? His first half was much better than the second half, but I think they didn't lose because of Eli Manning.
No.
So,
yeah, Richard Sherman actually tweeted out about this.
Yeah, I did say that Eli Manning could be a sneaky stream this week, and you would have done okay had you done so. But I am going to say that next week, Eli Manning is playing the Dolphins in a juicy matchup, and I'm not scared to stream Eli Manning next week against the Dolphins. It depends on what you've got available in your league, but hey, man, if you're in a deep 2-quarterback league and Eli Manning's available, I might play him over a lot of other guys next week. So, but anyways, Daniel Jones, in my opinion, should probably be sat down for the rest of the season. They're not making the playoffs. They need him healthy next year. Last season-ending injury here, Adam Vinatieri, the 46-year-old kicker, out for the year. He's been having a rough year, to be completely honest with you, and I think this might be the end of his career. He was 17 for 25 on field goals, 22 of 28 on extra points. Not really fantasy news, but I just want to give credit where credit's due. He's a legend in the NFL, and he might be done for the rest of the season here.
There's no way this end of his career. I don't think he's allowed to retire. There's no way.
Are him and Frank Gore like competing?
Yeah. To eternity. They will both be there forever.
Moving on here. Mark Andrews did leave the game this week with a knee injury. He has returned to practice as of today, so that's great news. Likely, it puts him on track to play Thursday night against the Jets. I just think that if you are a Mark Andrews owner like me, you need to have a backup plan ready to go. If he does not play Thursday night, you got to have somebody to throw in there in his stead. So be prepared for that. We will tweet out as soon as we know whether or not he's playing. So Jameis Winston has a fractured thumb, but he's expected to continue playing. Why? I don't know. I really don't know.
Because why not?
He has 23 interceptions this season, which is incredible.
Yeah, his thumb was getting in the way, Perry.
26 touchdowns, 23 interceptions. That is crazy to me. There are guys out there that have thrown 2 interceptions all season and played just as many games as him. So that's it's wild. But if Jameis is going to play, I don't know if I'd start him. Would you start him with the fractured thumb?
No, there's better options out there. But he is the king of flyers up.
He is the king of flyers up. He had a big week this week, throwing for over 450, 3 touchdowns, 3 more interceptions. But the fractured thumb is scary, man. It's scary.
Yeah, like I said, he's the king of flyers up. He could do what he did this week and get you a bunch of points, or he could end the game with negative points.
Yeah, he could end the game with negative points. You could have 2 interceptions in the first quarter and get pulled.
Yeah, so no, I'm not starting.
Okay. I got 2 more here. James Conner's expected to practice this week. He's missed the last few weeks due to a shoulder injury. They're going to see how well he practices, how he looks at practice, and report back later in the week on whether or not he's going to play. If James Conner plays, will you start him in the playoffs, Justin?
No, but I think more importantly, I also will not start Benny Snell again. He will not trick me again. I did suggest to some people that they start Snell over who was it? Powell, which turned out, I mean, they ended with about the same amount of points, but neither one of them did anything. And so with that volume, he has done nothing. So at least now, there's no fear of being fooled there. I'm not starting either one of them.
I think I agree with you. It seems risky to me. I think I might be more interested in starting Benny Snell if I knew Connor wasn't playing, but I also still don't really want to start Snell.
Yeah, and they're also playing the Bills, who do have a decent defense. So
more than decent, man. That's a good defense.
Yeah, exactly. So with that in mind, like I don't think I'm gonna go for that.
Yeah. Okay, we're in agreement there. And then last piece of news here, guys. Thanks for holding on. Juju Smith-Schuster is expected to start practicing again this week. They're eyeing how he's going to play. Even if he's healthy, it's really difficult to trust him against the Bills in the playoff semifinals, right? You're playing for something big here. He hasn't been that good this season, and he's playing against a very good defense coming off a big injury.
With the quarterback that he hasn't been playing with.
Yeah, I don't know if I could start Juju. I really don't. But hey, if you want to risk it and he does it, I mean, I bet a lot of people will be like, yeah, it's Juju, of course. But that's
this
risky.
Season, that hasn't really worked out. I wouldn't do it personally. If I saw him in someone else's lineup, I wouldn't be like, that's a stupid move. But personally, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, I think we're in agreement there as well. All right. That is all the news. Lots of season-ending injuries, Justin. Holy cow.
Yeah, we got some awesome news no one cares about. We got good, we got bad, and we got ugly.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm gonna start with some good. We got Khalil Mack pays off $80,000 in Walmart holiday layaway bills.
Nice.
Right? I like these feel-good news stories. Has absolutely nothing to do with your fantasy team, but it's cool.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the bad. All right, the Patriots cheat again.
Okay, all right. It's not confirmed yet, but I think
they apologized for it, and they. I guess I keep getting these updates on it throughout the day today. At first, they're saying that they had a separate film crew that was working for them to film some sort of ad or something.
I heard it was a documentary.
Yeah, whatever. The people after reviewing the tape, there was an 8-minute straight video that was only of the sideline of the Bengals and their coaches calling plays. Seems like a strange documentary to me.
Yeah. God.
Yeah. So
I don't know.
Strike again.
They strike again. I don't know. I think they're taking the baseball approach where it's like, it's only cheating if you get caught, and that's not how the NFL handles it.
Yeah, and I mean, they didn't really get a severe punishment last time, and they're like, if it wins us a Super Bowl, who cares?
Didn't they lose like draft picks last time or something like that?
Yeah, it was, but it wasn't. It was like a 6th-round draft pick.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it wasn't like anything. Obviously, not enough to make them not do it again.
I think nothing will really come down from this until the end of the season, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah, me too. And I got some ugly here too. I mean, I'm gonna have to edit this one myself, which is risky. A ref told Rivers, get the quack out of here after he threw an 80-yard touchdown pass, and he was yelling in the defender's face over and over, 90-yard touchdown, woo, over and over in the defender's face.
My wife was going to love that story. She loves Phillip Rivers.
Yeah, they actually, the ref like separated them, and like the defender was mic'd up so you could hear the whole thing. And the defender took it so well. He was like, dude, just get out of my face. Like, you don't got to yell that in my ear. And he's like, yeah, I do. 90-yard touchdown.
It sounded like he like channeled his best Ric Flair. Woo! The nature boy.
Oh God, I want to see the two of them just yelling back and forth together at each other. Woo!
Oh God.
All right, I got two more here. Pat Mahomes' girlfriend was upset with the Patriots.
Oh, I saw this. Yeah.
Yeah, because security apparently had to move her and Mahomes' brother to a safe place after Pat's fans were being unruly.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the fans, I think, just in general in that area, aren't known for like having class during stuff like that. Like
where do you get this?
Yeah, Bills fans and Patriots fans both. I mean, remember LeGarrette Blount was like talking crap about beast mode after they won the Super Bowl and wore like some shirt with expletive on it.
Oh,
mode.
You mean Marshawn Lynch?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think they just, they are very competitive, like Phillip Rivers.
Okay. I guess I don't necessarily subscribe to that, but I guess I hear it.
Oh man, you got to see all these Bills pregame videos.
No, those are crazy.
I've started getting tagged in some of these. Which I love. Keep it up, guys. And then the last piece of news no one cares about. I know we're about to go into studs, but I'm gonna jump the shark here a little bit. And the first news no one cares about / stud. The Miami kicker kicked 7 field goals this week. He almost broke the record of 8.
Right on. Yeah, I don't care about that.
Yeah, but 42 fantasy points.
You missed one piece of news nobody cares about.
I did.
Josh Jacobs. No, sorry, not Josh Jacobs. We care about that.
Yeah.
Le'Veon Bell, who missed this week due to the flu. It was announced on Saturday morning that he would not be playing. Went bowling Saturday night. And apparently the Jets are not happy about him calling out sick and then going bowling. Do you care?
I mean, I did. Yeah, I had him on my fantasy team.
Well, unfortunately, you don't get points for bowling, Justin.
Yeah, I should. I need to know what his score was on that bowling, and we need to incorporate that into fantasy so I could get some points for that.
You already lost, my friend. You already lost.
I know. Oh, man.
Do you think he should be punished for that?
Absolutely. I should be the one that gives him the punishment.
Okay, well, the correct answer there was no, he should not be punished for doing whatever he wants on his free time.
No, he should, because he said he was going to make it up to fantasy owners this year.
Yeah, he has not, by the way.
Yeah, thanks.
Spoiler alert.
First week of the playoffs.
Okay, all right. Let's get into some studs and duds. Justin, let's just alternate through these, and I'll start, okay? The first stud I want to talk about is a quarterback. That's Drew Brees with 40.1 fantasy points. Drew Brees had 5 touchdowns this week. Do you think that this is going to be a return of the great and powerful Drew Brees every week, or do you think this is just a one-out kind of thing?
So first of all, this whole game blew my mind. Like, these were 2 incredible defenses that just decided they weren't playing this week, and the offenses both went off. But no, I don't expect this to continue. This is not how they've been winning games. So I think they're going to return back to who they are.
Okay. I think 3 touchdowns next week against Indianapolis isn't out of the question. But yeah, more of like the 200-yard, 2-touchdown performance might be more of what to expect. But yeah, we'll see. It's good to see Drew Brees he still can do it, man. So Jameis Winston, who we already talked about, technically a fantasy stud, even with the 3 more interceptions tacked on, putting up 37.7 fantasy points, the 456 yards I talked about, 4 touchdowns. Sorry, I misspoke. It was not 3 touchdowns. It was 4 touchdowns. I know that Tampa Bay fans must hate him. I know the coaching staff must hate him. But, man, your fantasy team must really love Jameis Winston. Again, we kind of already talked about it. I'm not going to start Jameis.
Yeah, it's Fitzmagic all over again. Just air it out, man. Like fantasy, it makes exciting TV. You're going to get the ratings up. Cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, don't start him.
And I skipped you there, so why don't you take the next 2?
No problem. All right, so the first one for me, Emmanuel Sanders, the first wide receiver on our list. Like we said, this game was all offense. If you started either one of these defenses, I'm sorry. It was a good decision to start them. It just didn't go well for you. He had 30.6 fantasy points, which, I mean, any of these players probably single-handedly won you your week this week if you played them. He had 157 receiving yards, and he threw a touchdown.
Yes, he did.
That play was just awesome, by the way. It was a reverse to a pitch to a throw to the running back.
Yeah, it was a really good play.
Yeah, so I think with Emmanuel Sanders, he's the number 1 wide receiver there. San Francisco, I think that he's a decent start going forward. Low-end wide receiver 1 possibility. So I just expectation management, though. This isn't going to be an every week. Just like I said with Drew Brees, I expect those points to come down. This is not who their team is. That's same for San Francisco. It's more of a rushing defensive team, so you're going to see a lot more of that, which will lower his points some. So just expect that.
Yeah, I completely agree.
And then the first running back on our list, we got Aaron Jones. I was talking this guy up before the game because the weather wasn't good, so I expected them to do a little more rushing than normal. Not that Aaron Rodgers can't throw the ball in the cold. He has no problem with that, but you just generally see more rushing in these games. And he broke out.
Aaron Rodgers apparently did have a problem throwing the ball in the cold, but more on that later.
Yeah. But generally he doesn't.
Yeah.
He had 192 yards rushing. So that's pretty incredible. Almost a 200-yard rushing game. Good for him. They had a great matchup with Washington. And because that, they took an early lead and they were able to keep giving him the ball, which helped. So you can expect that. I think they play the Bears next week. So the Bears have, despite how amazing their defense was last year, they have not been impressive this year. So I think you'll see more of similar production from Aaron Jones.
Yeah. I've got 2 more here to talk about real quick. One of them, Raheem Mostert, and I'm curious to get your take on this one. He had 10 carries for 69 yards and a touchdown, and then the 1 reception that you already spoke about for 40 yards and a touchdown. I kind of am curious, do you expect this to continue? I know we both agreed that the San Francisco backfield is almost untouchable at the moment.
Yeah.
But that 1 reception for 40 yards really inflated his points here.
Yeah, absolutely. That inflated it. I think if you're, let's say, the Josh Jacobs owner or someone like that, where you're looking for a running back and you need someone who can put up points because you're, in the fantasy playoffs where the people you're playing against also have good teams. I think this might be a risk for you that might be worth it. But like we said, that's a risky backfield where you could end up with nothing. But I think he's the best option in that backfield.
Yeah.
He's done it a couple weeks in a row now, even with everyone else being healthy and back. So I would put him in if I needed a running back.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think at this point in the season, if you're losing a running back like Josh Jacobs, it's slim pickings out there. And if Raheem Mostert's available, I mean, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good replacement. And then last guy I wanted to throw out there real quick, DeAndre Hopkins with another good day. 7 receptions for 120 yards and a touchdown. Will Fuller is kind of a game time decision going into next week. I still think even if he plays, I'm going to play DeAndre Hopkins with fairly high expectations. Do you concur, Doctor?
I concur.
All right, perfect.
One more before we get to the duds. Jimmy G had a great week. Obviously, we've talked about the other players on that team, so I'm not going to go through all his stats. He did, but he did great. One of the top quarterbacks this week. And Jimmy G isn't a quarterback that I think is an elite level quarterback or anything like that, but they are playing Atlanta next week. So I think that could be a good matchup if you're streaming quarterbacks. This could be another good week for him. So just something to keep in mind if you're out there looking for a quarterback.
Yeah. I'm going to list off a couple real quick here. Some guys that came out of nowhere. Mitch Trubisky with 33 fantasy points. If you're thinking about streaming Mitch Trubisky, just remember what he's done the rest of the season, right? I don't chase the points from last week. That's dangerous. AJ Brown with 31 fantasy points.
Yeah, AJ Brown, we talked about that. It's not super surprising that he broke out and had a big week. He's extremely talented. Just like we said, he's a rookie wide receiver, which means he's inconsistent. So, I mean, don't chase the points there. Next year, get AJ Brown.
Yeah, I'm excited about A.J. Brown next year. And I think that he could have a good week against Houston next week. It's not a super strong defense as they have been in the past. So there's a possibility there with A.J. Brown. Austin Eckler, huge day. I like Austin Eckler the rest of the season. I'm going to continue to put him out there if I've got him in a league because that receiving power that he has. Not to mention 101 rushing yards on 8 carries, man. That's insane. So like Austin Eckler the rest of the season. Joe Mixon, you and I were both kind of low on Joe Mixon going into this week. He had a good day. 186 total yards and a touchdown. I don't think I love him the rest of the season. If I have better options, I might take them.
How you feel about Drew Lock?
I'm excited as a Broncos fan to finally see a quarterback go out there and like do something exciting, right?
Yeah, we over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns this week.
Yeah, we really haven't had that in a long time. We had a brief period there with Trevor Siemian. Before that, it was Peyton's 2013-14 season. So excited about that. I'm excited about prospects for next year in fantasy, even with Drew Lock. We'll see how he plays out rest of the season. But right now, I'm not going to go out and stream Drew Lock just yet. All right, let's get into some duds, Justin. Why don't you kick it off here?
Okay, yeah. So the first dud we got is Aaron Rodgers, which we spoke about. Like I said, he generally doesn't have that hard of a time throwing the ball in the cold. Did not produce very well this week. Only got you 11 fantasy points. And they did get that big lead right at the beginning, or take a lead at the beginning, which, like I said, allowed them to run the ball more. So he didn't really need to be the Aaron Rodgers of the past. So, I just think that's, kind of what happened in that game. It's not someone who I'm going to avoid, but like I've talked about in the past, like this year, Aaron Rodgers is not the Aaron Rodgers of old. Yeah. So there's probably better quarterbacks you could stream week to week than Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, definitely. And just real quickly, so we don't have to come back to this, Devontae Adams, also a dud this week, probably a product of exactly what Justin just said. They had no reason to throw the ball a lot. Devontae Adams is a victim to that game script. So I wouldn't be afraid of Devontae Adams rest of the season, continue to suit him up. Another dud here, Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara has kind of been, I'm not going to call him a dud all season, but he certainly hasn't been the guy that he was drafted to be this season. He had 43 total yards, lowest output of the season, with Drew Brees having 5 touchdowns. You're surprised. I'm surprised that Alvin Kamara didn't get some of that passing work.
Yeah, exactly. Like with the way the game ran, with all the points on offense, it became kind of a shootout.
Yeah.
But his low production is still shocking because of his pass catching ability. Like he still should have been involved in this game.
Yeah, only 6 targets, 4 of them caught for 18 yards. I expect a little bit of a bounce back from him next week, and maybe a more well-balanced game with Alvin Kamara. So I'm going to continue to put him out there. I can't sit Alvin Kamara, and I own him, so that's actually the truth with Alvin. Leonard Fournette, another guy I own that had a bad week.
Good thing you have a first-round bye.
I know, that worked out for me. He got 63 yards on 18 carries, so fairly efficient, not too bad. But he did not find the end zone. I'm thinking it's kind of just like a blip on the radar for him. Just a bad week. You can't sit Leonard Fournette. He's been so consistent all season. Are you worried about him at all?
No. Yeah, he's still going to get the work. Like I told you, Perry, just rest your starters this week. Get them healthy for your next week in the playoffs. You took my advice and you didn't give them too much work.
It's worked out great. Thank you for that.
Yeah, so he's fine going forward. You can expect him to continue to do Leonard Fournette things going forward.
Can you believe he's only scored 3 touchdowns this season?
It's hard to believe.
It is hard to believe. And then, you know what? It's kind of weird including this one. I'm going to let you do this one. This one is sweetness for you right now.
Yeah. So Corey Davis didn't 0 point. No. Okay. Yeah. Odell Beckham Jr. Had 4.9 fantasy points. Now, the reason why I joked about Corey Davis also not having any fantasy or points, I think he had 4.2 actually, is because like both of these guys have been the same this season. Like I've been down on both of them this year, and I don't even consider him a dud at this point. It's just what he's been doing. Like this is Odell Beckham Jr. this season.
Yeah. Somehow he's managed 844 yards. He's had 108 targets. It's not like he's not getting the targets.
Yeah.
He's only caught 59 of them.
Yeah, he said like it came out that he's battling a sports hernia, and also he's not happy on this team anymore, which he was super excited to go there and prove everyone wrong. But I think it's likely we see him on a new team next year.
Maybe. I mean, that's not crazy. I mean, it would have been crazy to think that going into the season, but man, it's not working. It's not working. I'm curious. Either he's gone or the coaching staff is gone.
Yeah.
So.
Some other disappointments we have too. We got Julio Jones. I expected him to have a much bigger week this week. He disappointed. I think he had 6 fantasy points. He didn't find the end zone. I thought he'd make it into the end zone, which would make it a suitable week for him. He didn't. And then another one who I actually advised.
For Julio, I was just going to say, with Calvin Ridley gone, I think Julio definitely will find the end zone at least once more before the end of the season. He hasn't been in the end zone since week 3. I'm expecting everything to kind of take an uptick here for Julio, especially those targets. He's going to be double-digit targets every week.
Yeah. Russell Wilson, he struggles against the Rams.
Yeah, he
defense.
does.
Every year, every time they play him twice a year, his stats are down. So that one wasn't a huge surprise to me. Just don't expect his numbers to stay down. Even though he is a dud this week, that's a player who you can expect to rebound and do just fine.
Yeah, you can't sit Russell Wilson at this point. But I can admit now that Russell Wilson is not going to win the MVP. So. And then one more dud of the week, Tyreke Hill.
Yeah.
This one's disappointing for me. I was really hoping that Tyreke would really come back with fire, but against New England, 6 receptions for 62 yards. I don't know. He hasn't found the end zone in a few weeks here. What do you do with Tyreke if you've owned him? I mean, you've owned him all season through the injury. How do you handle it?
It's rough. It's a roller coaster of emotion with Tyreke, with big performances, injuries, and then non-performances. But I think he's one of those players that I'm probably starting because he's a explosive player that does it on a much more consistent basis than most of those players who are that type of player. So the Patriots are great at shutting down like your best players. So I mean, I'm fine with starting him going forward. He should do just fine. I told people that going into this week that I would bench him for this week. Even though he's super talented, I like him a lot. I've been a big fan of his for fantasy purposes since he came into the league, really. But last week I told people to bench him, and I think going forward, you're fine to start him. Just important things, you know, like certain matchups are bad for players. Most of the time you can start your studs. That's like a 90% rule. But
Yeah.
every once in a while you get those defenses that can shut down players.
Asking for a friend, Cooper Kupp or Tyreke Hill next week.
And who does Cooper Kupp play, by the way? I just had that up. I'm pulling it up right now. Okay, they play the Cowboys. Ooh, man, that's tough. I think I'd go with Kupp. That's a real doozy there. I think we'll cover that. We'll probably cover that more on the next show, so I could really dig into the stats and the defenses.
All right, I may be putting that in my start-sit questions for next episode.
You're gonna make an anonymous Twitter and tweet.
It has nothing to do with my fantasy lineup.
Yeah, I think I would go with Kupp on that one. That's tough though.
We'll listen to what you have to say at the end of the week.
Yeah.
All right, Justin, got anything else to cover before we get out of here? Need some dinner?
No, I appreciate all of you guys tuning in, all the support we get. Once again, you guys could get merchandise on the Rum Boys website, and you know, make sure that you comment on our videos so you could get entered to win the autographed Mark Ingram jersey. So we're doing tons of stuff. We want to give back to you guys for supporting us. I really appreciate each and every one of you and becoming part of the management team. We're going to build this brand together, and you guys can come along on this journey with us.
Yeah, everything he said. Yeah, man, that was really heartfelt. I'm just thinking about food, and Justin's over here like, let me tell you how I love you, everybody.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was like
You're
digging in on
right
Twitter. Someone blocked us on Twitter.
I saw that conversation.
Yeah, that was upsetting for me. I'm sorry. I really appreciate everyone, and I put time and effort into everything I do. So like each time you guys ask me a comment, I will sit there and make sure I give it my all. And I feel bad when I give you bad advice.
Yeah, so do I. So here's some good advice. Everybody have a wonderful night and eat a really good dinner, and also have an ice cream sandwich, because I think I'm going to as well.
Nice. I'm going to do that.
Nice.
And we will see you guys on Friday. And again, I'll be going live again on Sunday. So hopefully we'll be able to all get on there again and give you guys some good start sit, last minute injury updates and things like that.
Right on. Peace.